Hi, my name is Ruth Marion, and I'm editor and producer of programs at the Sleep Forum. We are a news source that brings you the latest trends in health and wellness with a special focus on sleep issues and sleep solutions. As editor and producer of programs, I look for experts in the field of sleep and introduce them to you and the rest of our audience of over 80,000 subscribers and listeners. The Sleep Forum recently partnered with Rhinomed, an airway and sleeping technology company, and decided to create the Sleep and Breathing series. Ivan Balcarce, your host, has over 20 years experience in the healthcare field. He is director of clinical education at Rhinomed. He works closely with sleep physicians and clinicians who treat nasal obstruction to educate them on the importance of nasal breathing and sleep quality so they can pass this information on to their patients. For the Sleep and Breathing series, Ivan will be interviewing experts, authors, and more to talk about the importance and the connection between proper breathing and sleep. Thank you for being here today, and I would like to hand the microphone over to Ivan.
Thank you, Ruth, for the warm welcome to the sleepforum.com and for the kind introduction. I'm excited and grateful to be a part of this project, the Sleep and Breathing series, and I'm also honored to be able to kick off the first of hopefully many programs in this series with our honored guest, Nancy Rothstein. Nancy is a friend of the Sleep Forum, and Nancy is also a dear friend and colleague. We've been on a sleep quest together and worked on many things together. Now, Nancy is also known as the Sleep Ambassador. As the Sleep Ambassador and Director of Sleep Health at Resonea, Nancy is on a quest to help people live life fully 24/7. As a sleep expert, Nancy inspires a new respect for sleep and its impact on all aspects of work, life, and well-being. She consults globally to companies and organizations as well as the public, presenting sleep education and training with strategic and practical solutions to empower people to make lasting shifts to optimize their sleep. Her course on LinkedIn Learning, Sleep is Your Superpower, has been taken by over 100,000 people and provides a wealth of sleep tips. Her Sleep Well, Live Well 4-week virtual sleep improvement program has been taken by thousands of employees. Nancy's also the author of My Daddy Snores, published by Scholastics, which has sold over 400,000 copies. For more information about Nancy and for curated sleep resources, you can visit www.thesleepambassador.com. Nancy, welcome to the Sleep and Breathing series.
I am so excited to kick this off with you, Ivan. I'm so excited that you are embarking on this series. You are going to bring a wealth of information, ideas, inspiration to thousands of breathers and sleepers, because everybody is a breather if they're alive, and if you're alive, you're a sleeper. But a lot of people are struggling with it. And welcome to the Sleep Forum, whom I've been working with, and they're doing a wonderful curated job of providing information on sleep, and lest we leave it out, breathing, because they're both essential for life. Okay, I'll stop pontificating.
Well, thank you. And that's obviously our goal, right? We want to just spread the word on how important this thing is that so many people try to just kind of cast to the side, sleeping. Nancy, so for those that don't already know you, I know your story, but for those that don't, what is your personal story? Surely you didn't graduate high school or college and say, I'm going to be a sleep expert. So how did you get interested in sleep?
It's such a good question. So my ex-spouse, whom get along with fine, but he snored. He snored a lot and loudly. I knew nothing about snoring per se, just that it was keeping me up. And I didn't know much at all about sleep apnea. And so it led me to write a children's book called My Daddy Snores, because I was helping in my daughter's kindergarten classroom and nodding off because I was so tired. Took a piece of construction paper, wrote the original draft, which I still show to kids at school things. And there was My Daddy Snores. And 400,000 plus copies later, it was an indication that people are having this problem in homes everywhere. And snoring isn't funny. It's something people joke about, but it's an issue. Doesn't particularly mean that for sure you have sleep apnea, but it can be an indicator. So what happened is my background was in finance and financial risk management. That was my first book on hedging interest rate risk. And then I suddenly said, wait a minute, other people can do this. Sleep is a risk management issue. And lots of people, lots of employees at corporations aren't getting enough of it. And it's impacting the bottom line. So then I was writing things like the ROI, return on investment of a good night's sleep. And it led to my whole quest being the sleep ambassador. And here we are.
Yeah, very interesting. So it's great to have that personal tie to what you do and what you're so passionate about. Now, when I first met you and I got your business card and it said the sleep ambassador, that title kind of struck me. Just you could have called yourself the sleep expert, sleep guru, wizard, wonk. Yeah, just take any term that hadn't been taken yet. But you called yourself the sleep ambassador. Now, when I think of an ambassador, I think of a liaison, someone who makes introductions, negotiates treaties, facilitates relationships between countries. So what does it say about how you see your role with respect to sleep, that you are the sleep ambassador?
So to me, in a nutshell, I serve as a bridge from the public or employees, and every employee is a member of the public, as a bridge to information, resources, experts, research in the field of sleep to help people do better what they were designed to do. So that's why I called myself the sleep ambassador, or do, because I am there to impart knowledge and information. But I want, only you can sleep for you. And I can be the ambassador of information and resources, et cetera, but you've got to empower individuals to be sleeping better and breathing better, for that matter. So this is the sleep and breathing series. So that's what I see myself doing as an ambassador. And it's inspiring people. It's making them recognize that they were designed to sleep, and that it's everybody, good sleep is possible.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So a fitting title then. So let's get into that then. Right now, let's talk about the state of sleep. So in the United States, the pandemic is, waxing and waning, surging and doing what it's doing, and it continues to grasp our attention. So how do you think this has affected people's sleeping patterns over the last year? And have there been any sleep lessons learned?
I get asked this question a lot. I actually made videos, and it's interesting and a little bit upsetting that it's still so apropos, but did a video. It's on my website with Resonea, but it was sort of, I had an avatar, and it was like 2 minutes about why does sleep matter during the pandemic? Why is it important? We did another one on the immune system. I think what's happened during the pandemic is it's given people an opportunity to slow down. Now, if you're a frontline worker or a doctor, a nurse, or in a business that you are working more, my heart and hat go off to you, and thank you for all you do, because you may be getting less sleep because of the pandemic. But for most people, it gave them an opportunity, especially working from home, to be a little bit more focused on their sleep. Patterns changed. People are carrying much more anxiety to bed with them. Mental health has taken a huge surge in importance over this period of time. But I do think the lesson learned is that sleep is integral to our health, that not sleeping well, not prioritizing it, is going to affect your overall health, well-being, functionality, and certainly your immune system, which is a big deal. In fact, drives me crazy. If I leave anything out, please interject. We have hand washing, social distancing, masks again. Why didn't we have sleep? Why didn't we have sleep as one of the major tenets to help you keep yourself well, your immune system working? Because you can wash your hands, social distance, and get really crappy sleep, and you're more susceptible to illness. In fact, there is plenty of research on the flu vaccine and how sleep can positively impact it, good sleep. I'm sure it will come up with, the COVID vaccine. And, some scientists have said, get a good night's sleep before you get your vaccine, so your immune system is working well. So that's sort of a long-winded answer, but there's many lessons learned. But I do sense that people are more aware of how they sleep, and that if they are at risk for a sleep disorder, be it sleep apnea, be it true insomnia and not just poor sleep habits, be it narcolepsy or restless leg, the top four, they're starting to see you just can't ignore it. You need to find out, and you have the opportunity to find out with a specialist what's really going on.
Okay, well, so it sounds as if well-being is more in the, in the zeitgeist, in the public consciousness. Now, you consult to many corporations, as well as talking directly to the general public. So have you seen any changes in their attitudes towards sleep over the last year, and that maybe are positive and you hope will stick around, or have you seen anything negative that you hope is only temporary?
So I think that the whole wellness structure, it was fitness, nutrition, sleep was not really there, was something that over the last decade we've been building in companies. Often wellness programming is the first thing to go when budgets need to hunker down and change some things. But I think the research, thank you to all the researchers that's been coming out, is showing us more and more that how an employee sleeps does impact the bottom line. We already knew from studies that it affected executive function, whether you're an executive or not. It means how you process, how your judgment, your reasoning, your ability to concentrate and focus, all those aspects of executive function, we already knew were influenced by sleep. But what the pandemic has shown us is that, especially with employees working at home, that sleep is an integral factor in how an employee shows up, whether it's at the office or at home or wherever. But the research does help drive it. And so I think what we're also seeing through the pandemic, not just sleep, is that employee both mental and physical health matters. And if an employee isn't healthy, they're not supporting your bottom line, nor their ability to be a productive, optimal employee. There's the term, it's been around for a long time, human capital. And the SEC even put a ruling forth that companies need to account for their employee wellness programming for human capital. The word sleep isn't mentioned, but I was so thrilled that that ruling came out, because it's going to put corporations to the test to say, are you integrating? And I for example, I spoke for Deloitte a number of months ago. We had 1,500 people come on the Zoom because they really emphasize employee well-being, and they're emphasizing mental health more, which is definitely something that's coming to companies. It's no longer, shh, I have an EAP and nobody wants anybody to know. It's like, you should speak up if you need help. Your physical health, your mental health, your overall health means something to us. Look, they want to decrease their insurance payments and premiums. So sleep, we don't need to get into the comorbidities or the resulting health issues that can arise from poor sleep, be it an untreated sleep disorder or just poor sleep. But I think sleep and now breathing, I remember doing something for James Nestor, who you'll probably mention in his book about breathing. It's called Breath, the New Science of Lost Art. And it was like, it's a one thing, oh my God, how am I going to sleep better? But then you say, you're not breathing right. And Rhinomed is, a sleep and breathing health technology company, which is way ahead of the game relative to what's out there. We can talk more about that. But you say to somebody, you're not breathing right. And they're like, oh my God, what do you mean I'm not breathing right? I'm breathing, I'm live, I'm talking to you. So, Ivan, we're on this quest to let people know that these good breathing is possible, good sleep is possible. And it doesn't take rocket science to do it. Understanding it may be rocket science, but actually breathing properly, there are tools to help you do that better. So that you say, oh my God, I feel like I'm breathing better. And I'd love to talk a little bit more about that, but I'll stop if you wanna.
Well, no, well, let's jump into that then. Couple things on breathing. How does someone know, again, you mentioned people are like, well, of course I'm breathing, I'm alive. So how does someone know that they're not breathing properly when they're awake? And this is a two-part question. And also, how do they know that when they're sleeping, they're not breathing properly if no one is around to tell them, hey, you stop breathing in the middle of the night, or you're making funny noises, or, you know, or something.
I mean,
Yeah. Which again,
somebody played for me a tape of their husband snoring yesterday. I had just given her, okay, here it is, everybody. It's called Mute. I'll mention that in a minute. But she played her husband snoring. It was scary. She couldn't even hear her TV with his snoring. And that was her telltale sign after he wore a mute the last number of nights, is she could hear the TV. Well, let's not even talk about why the TV's in the bedroom and why she's watching it when she's going to sleep. That's another topic. But so how do you know if you're not breathing? So anybody, if you're listening or watching this, take your finger and plug one nostril, hold it shut, take a breath through one nostril, take a couple, and now open that one and go through the other. How's your breathing? Is it, now it's going to be a little different every 90 minutes or so through one or the other. It's going to switch a bit, the predominance. But if you feel like, wow, I didn't even realize I barely breathe through my left nostril. I don't know if you have a deviated septum or some kind of allergy or some kind of obstruction, but you should be able to breathe freely. Well, how do you know what it feels like to breathe freely? And this is everyone. This is not a commercial for Rhinomed. And full disclosure, I've been consulting to them for 5 years because they have a natural, comfortable, usable breathing technology, which is extraordinary, because I've watched dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of people, eyes light up. They like, oh my God, I can breathe so much better. Do you need to wear it all the time? No. But if you're snoring at night, or you have a constricted airway and you're not oxygenating your entire body, and you're breathing through your mouth and not your nose, and that's a whole nother topic, which I think Ivan will have a series about. But just, this is possible. You should just try this. I mean, I had the US Army dentist trying this to see what it felt like to breathe better so they could let their patients know what it meant like to be able, because you know, at the dentist, some people, it's hard to close your mouth because, or it's hard to just, you know, your mouth breathing and then your nose, you can't because they're in your mouth. All kinds of things in life can remind you. And back to your initial question, how do you know if you're not breathing properly? Well, that was the first test to try to see if it's open. And are you a mouth breather? You should be breathing through your nose, in and out. I've been doing yoga for 50 years, and believe me, you should be breathing in and out of your nose, except in some special circumstances. So Mute, M-U-T-E snoring.com. Look at it. Consider getting it on Amazon, at CVS, Walgreens. This is not an ad. I want you to be able to breathe better 24/7. And if you snore or your bed partner snores, this is a stepping stone, and it will not cure sleep apnea if someone has it, but it's going to let them know that maybe there's something they need to attend to. Maybe there is more than just snoring. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, actually, you did. But let's delve a little bit more into the sleeping part. So if you sleep and you sleep alone, what could be a telltale sign in the morning that maybe you were snoring or you're not breathing properly?
It's a great question. And I'm very engaged with a number of organizations that are in the world of sleep breathing health. Telltale signs: you wake up and you don't feel refreshed, you're tired, you're yawning, you don't want to get out of bed, you toss and turn, your sheets are a mess, you're just, because by the way, if you're not breathing well at night, your brain is going to do whatever it can to get air. So you may not know, because you're sleeping alone, that you're snoring and not breathing during the night. You may think it's just fine, but you're having interrupted, fragmented sleep because your brain is going to have micro arousals or full arousals where you wake up and hear yourself snoring because it's doing anything it can to get air. Another thing is headaches. You wake up with headaches, not getting enough oxygen, or you're falling asleep driving. Don't drive drowsy. Or every day you need a lot of caffeine and you suddenly say, all right, it's true. I have X cups of coffee or Cokes or Diet Cokes all day long because I'm really tired. And that's a sign to you. And that can be a problem for somebody who sleeps alone. But most importantly, your body speaks to you. Are you listening? If it's saying, I'm tired, I wake up with headaches. Here's another one. You wake up with a dry mouth because you're mouth breathing. That's not normal. It's okay though, because there are things you can do about this. And you want to do something, because if you ignore this over time, it can lead to cardiovascular disease, hypertension, depression, increased anxiety, and the list goes on. So good sleep is possible, but you may need to see a specialist or get some help if you can't resolve it on your own.
Well, thank you for that. And speaking of resolving it on your own, so before we even get to the specialist, right, there are people now who are maybe going back into the office after almost a year of working from home, if they were able to. Others who are looking for work and maybe their unemployment benefits recently ran out. So people who are facing a commute once again, people who are stressed, this is affecting their sleep. What can they do to prepare for this time? And then, you know, if you would end that with 3 easy tips, 3 quick tips that somebody who is struggling with sleep can implement tonight, not waiting for, you know, an appointment or seeing somebody or buying something, but a couple of tips that somebody can implement tonight to get a better night's sleep.
I will do that. But the first question is, what do they do with all this stress?
Mm-hmm.
What do they do with all this anxiety? It's so important. It's so great that you asked that. And here is a major, major point. And this is, I've lectured to thousands of people and read a lot about this. What's happening is, and this happened before, but it's even more apparent now. People are carrying their stress and anxiety to the bed. They've been busy all day or not busy enough, but they didn't have a way during the day to process it. So they lay down in bed and their brain goes crazy. I'm so worried about this. What about that? What am I going to do with the kids if I'm back at the office and they're not in school? Blah, 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 blah. And there aren't enough caretakers. I don't have this situation. And it's just, or my child's nursery school just had to close and send kids home again because of, you know, health risks. And there you are in bed and you're so anxious, you're not going to fall asleep. And if you do, you're going to be agitated during your sleep. This is such an important, and it's sort of a tip, but more important is that we've got to process our anxiety during the day. You cannot carry it all to bed with you. Meditation, mindfulness, therapy, companies are supporting that. There's resources for you to go to so that you can find ways that work for you, be it talk therapy or meditation or going to yoga or exercising or Tai Chi, whatever you can do. It may be physiological, it may be mental, it's probably both because there's correlation to every thought and physical aspect. But honor yourself all day. Take micro breaks. If you're really tired, take a power nap for 10, 15 minutes in the late afternoon. Not a 2-hour nap. That's not a nap because over half an hour, you're in a sleep cycle, you wake up groggy. Although if you're sick, get all the extra sleep you need. So that's one way to deal with all of these transitions and more. Ivan, it's the unknown. I mean, it's August 2021. Did we expect now in Chicago where I am, every masks indoors everywhere? We had gotten through that. Now we're back to it. We don't know what the future will bring. All we know is that we need to empower ourselves with tools that we can use to support our physical and mental well-being. So top tips for sleep, where you don't have to go buy anything, do anything. I'll start by saying that the best sleep technology is inside of you. You may need an external technology, CPAP, a mute, to help you. A CPAP is for sleep apnea. But what can you do starting tonight that could change your sleep for the better? Number one, not going to say an hour before bed. That's where you want to arrive. Start a pact with yourself, and maybe it's a family pact, that a half an hour before sleep, all technology is turned off. Your phone, your computer, your TV, and you say, what am I going to do for half an hour? Read a paper book, read to your children, have a conversation with someone. Just get away from technology and honor your biology's need to transition to sleep in peace and without brain stimulation. Number two, time. Free yourself from time. What do I mean by that? Do not look at the clock if you awaken during the night. Especially on your phone, because if you see a text, I know very few of us could resist reading that. And then your mind's off to the races, and going back to sleep isn't what it could be. So don't look at the clock during the night, and don't fight with the clock if you can't fall asleep. If you feel it's been about 15, 20 minutes, you know you're not falling asleep. Go fold some laundry, go empty the dishwasher, go turn on a dim light and read a little bit more. But your body knows what to do. And short of a restricted airway or some pain in your body that needs to be addressed, your body knows what to do. So it wants to fall asleep. And you can't try to sleep. It's got to come naturally. So tune out from technology. Don't look at the clock. And a third one is when you're laying in bed, go to gratitude. Think about what you're grateful for. Gratitude gets you away from the barrage of negative thinking and anxiety and all that. Just start with, if you're not grateful for anything, at least be grateful for your heartbeat. Talk to your heart, thank it. It's not stopping all night. It may not be what it does if you're jogging, but just go to gratitude. It's an extraordinary tool, and it's right there for you.
That all sounds good. Sounds very calming, right? Which is what we need. Calm the mind, calm the body. Now, my wife, right, is a person who, she will tell you in her own words, she's not very patient. She likes quick results, magic bullets. I think she marshals all of her patients to deal with the likes of me. So, and I'm very grateful for that. So if something hasn't done the trick for her inside of a week, she's quick to say, oh, it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. So if she has a problem with staying up and turns off technology for like about a week and still is not sleeping the way she wants to, it'll probably come back on. So the question is, how long should a person commit to a sleep improvement program or steps before determining that it's just not working for them? And well, let's start with there. Yeah, before determining it's not working for them.
A lot of people say it's not working for them, and then you find out they have coffee or wine right before bed, or they have their TV on in bed because they insist on it, or they're playing Word with Friends on their iPad, or they're on their phone listening to podcasts. I mean, you got to be real with yourself. What did you change? Maybe you just tuned out from technology, but you're still having a glass of red wine to fall asleep. So, which will help you fall asleep, but it will play havoc with your sleep cycles. So I think if a person is committing themselves to improving their sleep, They have to be really say, okay, I'm going to look at this as an experiment. I don't know if I'm willing to change my life for more than a few weeks or a month or a day, but I'm going to see how this works. And I would also highly recommend that they start out before they even embark on the changes and write down, what is it? What's the problem? Are they waking up feeling tired? Are they having trouble sleeping up during the day without a lot of caffeine? Does their spouse or bed partner tell them they're snoring? What are they trying to achieve? You need a little bit of a roadmap, and you got to start with a baseline. So giving up after a week, you got a lifetime to sleep. And if you want to live long and live healthy, sleep's an integral part of it. So I don't know. I just giving up after a week, because what didn't work? I mean, what did you actually do to give yourself the opportunity to experience sleep improvement? However, all the great sleep habits in the world may help your sleep a bit. But if you have a compromised airway, for example, with sleep apnea, or you've got restless leg syndrome and you're not dealing with it, you're still going to have a problem. Now, the combination of improving your sleep habits along with treating a sleep disorder can be wonderful. But I think that if you've done everything and you're still snoring loudly and you're still tired all the time, or your partner says you're kicking him or her, then you need to see a sleep specialist.
Okay. And well, thank you, because that was going to be my next question, right? When should somebody decide that they've done what they can and now they need help?
Okay, so the done what they can. All the good sleep habits in the world won't change a physiological compromise to your anatomy. So if somebody snores loudly or not, you don't have to snore to have sleep apnea, or you notice they stop breathing during the night and they're always tired, work on changing your sleep habits. That's great. Go see a sleep specialist, and not particularly your primary care, because they're not trained in sleep. I mean, I've actually had people say, oh, my doctor said just to lose weight and I'd stop snoring. Because between now and when you lose weight, and that may not be the panacea. Look, I have mild sleep apnea. I wear an oral appliance to jut my jaw forward, open my airway. I combine it many nights with a mute. Am I a mouth breather? No, but I love getting more oxygen. I love knowing that my airway is functioning at its best. Because if you read James Nestor's book, Breath, you'll learn why our facial structure has changed, and why the way we were originally designed to not have any of these breathing problems, why we have them more now, structurally.
Okay. Well, Nancy, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Before we wrap up, I got maybe just one more question, which is, you're immersed in all things sleep. You already mentioned James Nestor's book, but could you mention, so let's say a total of 3. We have James Nestor's book, Breath. Could you mention 2 other books related to sleeping, relaxation, or breathing for anybody who wants to read more on the subject?
So my favorite book, because his ability to write is so fine, and he really gets it across. What book? Is Matt Walker's book, Why We Sleep. I think it's great. I think he did a magnificent job taking the science and making it comprehensible. And so I think that's a second book. And I usually wouldn't do this, but it's my reason I'm going to say it is, our kids learn nothing about sleep in school. They just, they learn about skeletons and robots and all in outer space and a million things, but they don't learn about sleep. And at their stage, they should be doing it for more than the third of their lives that adults do. So look, and if I have my druthers, there will be a science series on sleep. But to start a conversation about sleep in your household, and to prompt a conversation where if you have teenagers or even middle school or even a 5th grader, let's do some family research on sleep and find out exciting, cool things about it. And instill in them, not like the paradigm, if you were naughty, you're going to bed. You should never make sleep a punishment. Right. So my third suggestion is going to be My Daddy Snores. Because at the end, there's all these resources in the afterword about where do you go to learn more about snoring and sleep and all of those things. And go to my website, thesleepambassador.com. And if you go to the resources page, look, I'm your curator. I've done years of work on figuring what do people need to know. And I'm very selective about it, what books to read. And, do I have everything there? No. But I'm trying to get you the information that matters, the information that's going to help you do what you need to do to get the best sleep and breathe the best you can.
Well, thank you very much for that. That's been great. And that's pretty much all the time that we have. We certainly appreciate all the work that you're doing, Nancy, and I want to wish you great success, because what you're trying to do is help everyone else to have success in their life, right? Home, work, family. So your success is everybody else's success. And so I wish you much of it. And we want to let everybody know that please be alert, be on the lookout for our next program. We will be talking, we're always going to try to bring you topics about sleep, breathing, well-being, and the nexus of all of them, right? How they affect each other. And our next program, we're going to be speaking to Wendy Troxel, speaking of books having to do with sleeping. And she is the author of Sharing the Covers, Every Couple's Guide to Better Sleep. So if you are in a couple, this book is for you. If you are thinking of coupling, this book is for you. So stay tuned or be on the lookout for our next program. And this is Ivan, and from Ivan, Ruth, and Nancy, we want to wish you all a very, very good night tonight.